Hey folks, over the past year or so, Tamron have been releasing some great lenses for Sony E-mount. Now today I brought along something pretty special. It's the 70-300 that's just about to come to market. And to test this guy out, I brought along something else special, Yasmin. So we're going to do a bunch of different portraits. There's three things I'm mainly interested in. One, obviously, is the image quality. Two is how is the handling of it overall. And three, the focus performance. So let's try it out.
It's a fairly gloomy, overcast and slightly raining day today, but there are beautiful fall colors out. So that's what we're going to try and focus on, soft light and fall colors. We're going to do some simple portraits, some hand-holding tests, some sports and running tracking shots, and lots of other fun.
Hey folks, today we will be talking about the Canon.
Now Tamron sent me out the 70-300 early and are sponsoring this video so I can have a play with it and show you what it's capable of. First thing that struck me shooting with this guy is how light it is. Now it is a variable aperture lens, but taking a look, you're getting a lot of flexibility with that focal length range, and you're still able to get nice soft backgrounds. Now, as I said, the 70-300 is nice, small, and light, and it's also great value. Take a look at the 70-200 Sony. That guy is $2,600 US and 1.5 kilograms. Beast. Tamron's own 70-180 is like less than half the price at $1,200 and around half the weight at 800 grams. But the 70-300, it is a variable aperture, but it's only 545 grams and $549. So it's a third of the weight and a fifth of the price of the 70-200. Now, they're not apples to apples because this is a different focal length range and it is variable aperture, not a constant f2.8, for example. But let's see how it performs with Yasmin running around in the park. So shooting with the Sony A9, there was really no issue. The eye autofocus had her from a mile away and it kept with her. We got a whole bunch in perfect focus, even when she was right up close to the camera. Speaking of close to the camera, now let's see how it does in terms of hand-holding and shutter speeds.
So when you're trying to get a really slow shutter speed, hopefully you saw the recent video I did with Steph about what shutter speed should you use. There's a couple of different aspects. One is how fast is your subject moving? The other is how much blur do you want? And you can use those to create blur in the shot if you want it. But another one is how stable is your hand? If you're getting to a point where you're just below your capability, it's going to be difficult. Now, this isn't about who's Superman and who whatever. Whenever I do a longer workshop, I get my students to do a series of different shutter speed images to see with that particular equipment what results they can get. And almost always, people can handhold slower at the start of the day than they can at the end because you're just a little bit tired. But if you want to get the slower shutter speed possible, hand holding, get as good of a grip on it as you can, feet shoulder distance apart, and then I actually will push the camera quite firm against my head as a third point of contact. So your elbows are kind of into your body, camera's in, exhale, pull the trigger, and that's where you're going to get your, the slowest possible. And take a little burst of them. Get 2 or 3 because you might find the first one moves a little from you pushing the button, and the same with releasing on the last one. So it's normally one of the middle shots that'll be your sharpest. So let's see what we can get here. So I shot it there at 200 mil and 300 mil, all the way down to like a 15th and even a 10th of a second. Now I'm sure down at that level, they won't be pin sharp because even the slightest move in her is going to throw it out. But let's head in studio and see what was the slower shutter speed. I was able to get some really crisp images.
Well, I stand corrected. It did better than I expected. Let's take a look at the shots first. So this first one up here in the top right, you can see this was taken at f7.1, 1/100th of a second. All of these are taken at 300 mil, its maximum reach, right? So 1/100th of a second, relying on the in-body image stabilization and this lightweight lens. Pin sharp, pin sharp, and that's wide open as well. So that's a nice little statement about its optics. So if you're using the old rule of thumb to keep your shutter speed at least your focal length, that should mean I should be at like 1/320th of a second. There at 100, no problem. Going to 1/60th of a second, sharp. 1/25th of a second, sharp. Background still looks nice. Here I was shooting in the middle of the day, so as we're getting down now towards this 1/13th of a second, I'm at f20, so you know, you're not going to have as sharp of a result down at those f numbers, but no movement. And even here at 1/10th of a second, still sharp. And look, the little water drops on her hair, everything is just nice. Now, interesting thing, if you go to this one at 1/500th of a second, you can see it was catching all of the little wispy bits of water. So when I was at the slower shutter speeds, those have actually all just kind of disappeared because they move around too much at those slower shutter speeds. Kind of cool. Now, I really think part of the reason why you're able to get those kind of hand-holding results is the fact that this is so lightweight. Like 500 grams versus 1.5 kilos in a full day of shooting really makes a difference in how tired you come home and how steady your hand is towards the end of the day. You're going to really notice that different extra kilo of weight that you're saving with a lens like this. So by it being so light, part of the trade-off is that you don't have inbuilt vibration compensation in the lens, but this is working so well with what the Sony already offers, I don't think it's going to hold too many people back. And in any case, the fact that it's so much more portable and user-friendly means I think a lot more people will take it out for a day of shooting rather than leaving it home as being too heavy. So it's just a matter of physics. If you're shooting with a variable aperture lens like this at 300mm f6.3, with a good separation from your subject and background, you can get a nice soft background. No, it's not going to be as out of focus as you'd get, say, on the 180mm f2.8 version, but it still gives you great separation.
I thought just like the leaves would come and it would look really pretty. Oh, slow-mo's fun, right? Okay, so this seems to be doing really well. The focus is keeping up, it's tracking, there's not a whole lot of light out today. It's actually gone from being kind of misty to now full-on raining. Lucky this thing is moisture sealed. So I'll head back into studio now. I'll let Yasmin head off for the day and let's check out some of those files.
So credit where it's due, it is great to see the range of lenses available for Sony E-mount expanding. Tamron have done a great job over the last year or two. They've got their holy trinity now of ultra-wide, middle, and telephoto zooms. But for those who want something more compact, lightweight, and much cheaper in price, this is a really nice addition. I actually used to use the 70-300 Tamron like a decade ago for DSLRs, and the image quality of these lenses has just gone to the next level. So good to see lenses that are really, realizing the benefit of mirrorless cameras by keeping the system light and portable rather than having these gigantic lenses on the front of tiny bodies. This balances so much more nicely, and the results from the image quality speak for themselves. So let me know your thoughts, folks. Is this a lens that you would consider? Is 70-300 a focal length that's going to work for your style of photography? Thanks to Tamron for sending this guy out early and sponsoring this video. Big thanks to Yasmin for coming out and shooting in that terrible weather and putting up with my bad sense of humor and playing it up for the slow motion camera. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you soon.